Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we'll be learning on case study method and ethical problem solving techniques. So this is to guide you on how to answer the case study assignment. First of all, what is case study? A case study is a real life situation. It will be like a story of a real life story. Normally, in a real life story, what happens, the event in any real life, it has an unstructured problems, meaning the problems are not well organized. It will be everywhere. So it's complicated. So students are required to solve the problem following this step. So when a case study is given, a case study can be, I'll give you an example after this, it will be like a paragraph of a story of a situation, and you are supposed to find you need to solve the case study based on certain techniques that I will teach here. First of all, when you want to solve a case study, first you need to identify what? Identification of the problem. So first is identification of the problem. What is exactly the problem? Maybe there only one problem, or there be many problems sometimes, so you need to read carefully in order to understand, is it only one problem or many problem. And then you need to differentiate between the symptoms and the problems. So symptoms is indicator of a problem, so it's not a problem in itself, it's just an indicator to the bigger problem. So for example, I just want to give an example. For example, in medical, for example, if you have cancer is a problem, the symptom to the cancer is maybe if it's a lung cancer, you'll be coughing. So coughing is a symptom and not the problem itself. So in the case study, ethical case study, you also need to understand which one are the symptoms and which one are the problems. Okay. Secondly is the problem analysis. So after you identify the problem, so then you analyze the problem. So you have to discuss the problem and the reasons for the problem to occur identified. So one of it is to understand the problem, number one. Number two is to discuss why do you think this problems comes up, what's the reason behind this problem. And number three is the identification of alternative courses of action. So after you identify the problem, then you analyze reasons of this problem, why this problem occurs. And number three is to find alternative courses of action of how to what else can we do to solve this problem. And in a case study, you're supposed to give a few different alternative solution, maybe 3 or more. Okay. And then finally, in the identification of alternative, make sure the alternative actions includes, number one, evaluate the alternative actions. So let me go again. Identification of alternative courses of action. So when you do this, when you do identify the alternative courses, you will involve a few steps, A, B, C and D here. Okay. So step A is to evaluation of alternative action. You just list down what are the possible alternative actions. Then B is you justify of choice of action. So after you put 3 or 4 or 5 of the possible solution to the problem, then you justify, you take one, the best one, and then you justify why do you choose this is the best solution or action taken for this problem, for this case study problem. And then after that, after you have the alternative, after you chosen the solution or the choice of action, then you need to come up with the action plan. What you need to do to realize the action. Okay. And then finally, implication of the decision. You must include, if you choose to do this, what are the implications that will occur that you can think of the action. Okay, so on point number one, identification of the problem. Let's go here. So the problem or the issues, it can be factual, it can be conceptual, or conflicting values. So there are generally three types of issues or problem. So when you read the case study, you need to identify if it's a problem. If yes, what kind of a problem? Is it factual, conceptual, or conflicting values? Okay, let's look at the factual issues. What does it mean? Factual issues means that what are the facts known about the case? Are any aspect of the case controversial, and what relevant information is missing or unknown? So basically, a factual issue is when you read the case study, what are the facts inside the case study? Facts means that something which is concrete, there is no doubt about it, because when you read the case study, there's something will be vague, something is very clear as a fact. So you need to state what are the factual issues inside this inside the case study. Number two is a conceptual issue. Conceptual issues are what is the meaning or applicability of an idea. Basically, conceptual issue means that any issue or problem which is not clear. There's something, some information given in the case study which are not clear. So in terms of whether it can be considered a gift or bribe. So is the problem really a problem, or is it not clear? If it's not clear, it falls under the conceptual issues. And number three is the conflicting values. What ethical principle should be applied to this particular case. For example, conflict between caring for the society, well-being and welfare of the society, and showing loyalty to the employer. So some issues or problem inside the case study may be conflicting, meaning it may cover a few issues in one problem. So for example, this example here, in a case study, it can be ethics on caring for safety, well-being, and it can also be against the loyalty to the employer, because in professional ethics you have also ethics that you should be loyal to the employer. So here, methods for moral problem solving. Let's go back to this. So you have identification, and then you have the problem analysis, the reasons of it, why is it occurring, and then identification of alternative, which includes evaluation of alternative actions. So when you want to come up with the evaluation of alternative actions here, you may refer to this, how to come up with the action need to be taken. So you have line drawing, flow charting, or creative middle way solution. So this, after you listed down the alternative solutions and you want to justify which action you want to take, you can use this method from these three methods. Okay, so we'll go through now what are these three. The first one is line drawing. Okay, line drawing technique is specifically useful for in situation which the applicable moral principles are clear, but there seems to be a great deal of grey area about which ethical principle applies. What does grey area means? Grey area means an area or part of something existing with two extremes and having mixed characteristics of both. Grey area means something that you're not sure. It's not really clear whether it's actually really wrong or is it right. Okay, so for example, this to make it clear, you can have a look at this example here. So you have a case study of a bribery. So you have the definition, what is the gift size, timing, reason. So you first jot down the the definition. For it to become a bribery, what is the amount that it should be? It should be greater than 10,000. For example, US dollar here. So less than 10,000, you don't consider as a gift, as a bribe, sorry. Then the timing, the reason. So for each one, you put the definition. Then for this line drawing, you want to come up with your justification, and this is how you do it. So you have all the features that you have, the characteristic of the problem over here. So you need to identify the characteristics. Then you put these two between the two extreme. Okay, so two extreme here. For example, the gift size, you have large and you have small. So what is large? Large, you say beyond 10,000 US dollars. Small is less than one US dollar. So then you make a line and then you draw where you think it is. It's a bit subjective. So you say, oh, this amount is actually not that small. Maybe not. It doesn't go up to 10,000 US dollar yet. But so maybe it's 8,000 US dollars. So you put it here, something like that. So the timing also, when the bribery happens, before decision or after decision. Maybe in the case study it's not very clear, so you need, based on your understanding, you write down where what do you think the timing is. Is it exactly before, slightly after, based on your understanding of the case study. So so this is very important for you to read carefully the case study, so that you can come up with this decision, or where this case study happens to be, the circle over here. And then next is so that's the first method. Second method is, we call it the flow charting, using flowchart to justify which one is the best solution. So, and this the flow charting, maybe it's the most familiar for engineering students. Normally use flowchart. We use it for developing computer programs. In engineering ethics, flowchart will be helpful for analyzing a variety of cases that have sequence or a series of consequences. So you have a flow. If you think of the solution have multiple steps and flows, maybe flow charting is the best method. So so let's see, this is an example of using flowchart as the method to identify which is the best course of action. So here's a flowchart. Union Carbide would like to build a plant in Bhopal. Safety laws in India as strict as US. If yes, it will go this. If no, it will go to this one. Because when you answer the case study, it's not clear. Maybe you don't have just enough information whether it's actually the safety laws in India. It's not clear stated in the case study whether it's have a design plant in US or no. So you need to give both options to the solution. Okay, and then it will go down. So then, if it's no, are local laws adequate for safe operation? If then you say yes, it will give another solution. If no, you give another solution. So this is how a case study, solution finding, justification or solution for the case study using the flow charting method. And the third method is what we call the creative middle way solutions. Okay, this creative middle way solution, basically what is it? If you can read this in the slide that I gave you, basically problems that present with us with a choice between two conflicting moral values, each which seem to be correct, and how do we make a choice? Number one, so in the middle way solution, number one, there are three ways. Number one is using one is obviously more significant than another. So sometimes when you have a solution, one solution is clearly more, more morally right. For example, protecting the health and safety of the public is more important than their duty to the employer. Okay, so you can justify using this. So creative middle way solution is by justifying using your thoughts. So here you justify, if you choose that one, you justify protecting the health and safety of the public is more important than the duty to our employer. A second way of using creative middle way is it's a kind of compromise. Okay, the keyword here is compromise. that will work for everyone. So creative middle way means you find a middle ground that is acceptable to everyone. Sometimes you had to make a decision which not everybody will be totally happy, like, so you need to find a solution that will make all of the parties happy, maybe not really extremely happy, but happy enough to take the solution. And you need a great deal of diplomacy to sell it to everyone. So you need to go to this party, say, oh, okay, this is the best solution, why, and you go to another party, you explain to them this is solution, best solution, why. So this is a creative middle ground. So this, the second way, if you're choosing this method, you need to find, okay, it's actually you cannot solve it into just not one will win. Maybe we'll try to make everybody a winner and try to explain. So in the case study, you have to explain why does the chosen solution is the best for everyone. So you need to design you need to state, for example, dumping a toxic waste in the local lake. One find ways to redesign the production process to minimize the amount of waste produced. Find ways to pre-treat the waste to minimize the toxicity of offers to pay for and install. And okay, you can read on your own. So it means that you are giving alternative solution that will make everybody happy. Okay, this is the creative middle way. And one way of the conflicting values, to when you have a conflicting values and you want to use this creative middle way, maybe there's no, you cannot give this creative middle way, you cannot have a compromise. So if you cannot give a compromise, then you only have, the only way you can think of is to make the hard decision. Make a hard decision means there will be parties or somebody who will not happy with your decision. Okay, so you need to choose from these many techniques which one you want to use it for your problem solving for your case study. Okay, so there are three methods, which is the line drawing, okay, and flow charting, and creative middle way solution. So in the case study, you can choose either one or two or three. It's up to you how many methods you want to use, and choose the best from the if you choose to use three methods and try to find which methods give you the best in the end, which solution you want to take. Okay, and you need to make it clear. So in the slides, we gave you some example of case study. So this is an example of case study. It's like it'll be a very long, what do you call it, paragraph explaining situation of a story, what happens. So from here you have to read, and then you need to come up with what actually this person need to do. Okay, so what as an employer, what the employee should do. As an employee, what the employee need to do. Okay. So you can read this in the slides that I gave. Okay, so this is an example. If you have any question on the case study, let me know. So I want to share with you this is a sample. It's one of the good sample, right, of a case study. So this was last semester's what they call it, case study. And you can see it's very clear how the students wrote it. They make sure what are the problems, right? What are the problems of in the case study that can identify, and not only the problem but also which category does it falls to. Is it factual issue or conceptual issue? Okay, or is there any moral issue? Okay, then you have and then the student explains the problem analysis. Okay, the problem analysis, and for each problem of over here, problem number 1, he gives the problem analysis. Okay, and then what information the student can gather from the case study, and then for each problem from 1, 2, and here problem 3. Okay, then afterwards, identification of alternative. After we understand the problems, and what are the statement or the knowledge that we know about that problem. Then we identify the alternatives. So he identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 alternatives, and then here he used different methods to solve this. He used weighing and balancing, creative middle way. So he also used line drawing. As I mentioned, you can use a few methods, and after you use a few methods, then you need to justify. You choose one action, right? So this student choose B, Y, and then he explains very detailed of why he chosen the action. And then action plan. Okay, what if this solution are being chosen, what is the thing that the person need to do, what is the action plan? So this is this a good this is a okay action plan. Actually, I've seen a better action plan. They even made, you know, flowchart to explain what are the steps for the action plan. And then finally, don't forget the implication of the decision. So when this action plan is taken, what probably will occur if this action is taken. Okay, so just to show you, here's another. So there's no, it's the same question, but there's more than one way of solving it. So again, the sister also categorize it based on the different issues that they have in the case study, and then what happened. And then nicely here she wrote who is involved. Okay, so maybe you want to identify who's involved and how does this happen, and what are the implication of this problem. And then she identifies the alternative solution. So here there's 4 solutions, and for each one she evaluate the pro and cons. Okay, that's also a method. So and then she also do this table to find out which what do you call it, which action taken is best. And then she justify the solution, but in the end she didn't have the implication and the rest, so that's why she didn't get 100%. Okay, so that's the case study. If you have any question, don't forget to write it down. We'll discuss it in next class.